Hi, this is John Rowell for the Rowell Report. Today is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. So we're taking another look at this whole Greenland situation. And so the rhetoric has been amped up by President Trump at Davos. And President Macron of France is firing back with tweets. So we're getting a virtual war of words in social media. But the key thing to understand here of this whole situation with Greenland is that Greenland is not the target, not the final target, at least as far as I can tell. So we have a map here of the Earth. So we have Greenland, Iceland, and there's the Faroes, there's the Shetland Islands. Of course, we have the UK, Ireland, Norway, Sweden, and over here is Russia. And of course, Russia is in the Arctic. So President Trump is saying that Russia is interested in Greenland to get to the Arctic. Well, I think there's more territory in Russia that is Arctic than there is in any country in the rest of the world put together. So then the point is, so what is going on? What do we have to understand? And the thing we have to understand is that this is a stepping stone, a big stepping stone. You can see Greenland is a big chunk of rock with lots of ice and some livable areas on the coastline. So then we look at Greenland, and then we look at Iceland, and then there's the Faroes, and here we have the Norwegian Sea, we have the North Atlantic. So let's take a look at the sea lanes, because for me this is the key thing to understand. And so we could guess as to where the ships go, or we could go to a live map that shows the shipping and where it's going. And you can see between, we have here the Denmark Strait between Iceland and Greenland, and we have a handful of ships that seem to be related either to Iceland or to Greenland. But this isn't Russia or China shipping. So where is this shipping going? So if we move over more towards Norway and the UK, you see the great majority of the shipping is coming through this area. So we have some ships coming in and out of Russia, and the shipping lanes come to the north of Russia, and then to the north of Finland, Sweden, and then come down the coast of Norway. And so the key area here, the most active, you can see this isn't just a handful of ships. This is around the North Sea, and the ships that enter and leave the Baltic Sea, and continue on down the coast of Spain towards Africa and into the Mediterranean, or down towards South Africa. So this is the key area of shipping. So then you ask yourself, okay, why is President Trump so interested in shipping? The Russians and the Chinese will be taking Greenland because they need it for access to the Arctic. Well, first, I already dispelled that. Russia has more Arctic land and more Arctic access than all other countries combined as far as their land mass. So then the question is, well, what about the transportation? The Chinese vessels, or the vessels carrying Chinese goods and the vessels carrying Russian goods or Russian oil, are they going through the Denmark Strait between Iceland and Greenland? No, they're not going there. So they're going over here. So anyway, it's obvious if we go back to this map, what is the goal? It's not Greenland. It would be Iceland and probably more the Faroes. But if the United States said, hey, give me the Faroes, then there would be a much stronger pushback than there is for give me Greenland, because the Europeans don't really care too much about Greenland. Only Denmark and it appears France really care, and they may have a hard time mounting any kind of defense of Greenland. And of course, the goal is then to get Iceland, because if the United States gets Iceland, then it has it for its national security, whatever justification you want to fill in the blank, and then get the Faroes, and then between the UK and Greenland, the United States can close off these shipping lanes, and they can control all the Russian and Chinese goods or commodities going through this area. So anyway, I think this is the key thing to understand. Greenland is not the final target. It will be Iceland, and then it will be the Faroes. So we're not even, we're practically into the second year of President Trump. So, there's a lot of territory he could still demand here in the North Atlantic, but would he just be satisfied with Greenland? I don't think so. I think that if he was going to take Greenland with the idea of closing off these shipping lanes, then he would have to take Iceland and the Faroes. And you see where all the traffic's going. So here is the Shetland Islands. So most of this traffic is going between the Shetland Islands and the Faroes. So you put the UK Navy here and the US Navy here, and the US Navy somewhere in Iceland, and then over on Greenland, and you basically close off this whole shipping, these shipping lanes, and you can even charge a fee for ships to pass. So anyway, this is kind of the plans, or Machiavellian plans of President Trump to take control of this whole area of part of the globe. And you have to say, well, that maybe that doesn't make any sense. Why would he need to do that? I mean, they're already building 40 bases in Norway, Sweden, and Finland to have close to Russia. Well, you can see that we're starting to get a much clearer picture of a Russia-U.S. conflict that is in the future. So the United States is starting to put together its strategy. So the United States gets Greenland, Iceland, the Faroes, and then you have the United Kingdom that would be helping the U.S., and then you have the U.S. bases in Norway, Sweden, and Finland, and then they begin to try to take control of the Arctic. So it's nothing to do with national security or defending the United States. It's simply another kind of colonialism in the North Atlantic. So that's the way it's looking to me. If you see things differently, please leave your comments below, and I'll leave this map here is Google Earth, and I'll leave you the link to this marinetraffic.com website. You're welcome to also check and verify this information which I'm putting in this video, but obviously it looks very much for President Trump kind of like a slam dunk. Denmark and France are not going to be able to impede the United States to take Greenland, and once they get Greenland, then it'll be a natural consequence of that presence to then jump to Iceland and finally to the Faroes. So if you don't think that is what the United States is interested in doing, I'd like to hear from you. And thanks again for viewing this video. If you like this video, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you back in future videos. Take care. Bye-bye.